I'm Davy, and I'm awesome, and welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the style of movies that I love. Alternative, B-rated, cult-style flicks, and hopefully you enjoy the review. So this week, one of my favorite movies that came out around the time I was in middle school, and it was the last movie that John Candy ever made. Sort of. It was the last movie he filmed. It came out, and then a little bit later after that, the movie Canadian Bacon came out, but Canadian Bacon was postponed. It was set to come out before this movie, but they held on to it. But this technically was his last movie. And it's a movie that has been mercilessly bashed by critics throughout the years. And I'm hoping we can shed some light on why they're wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, from 1994, Wagons East. This movie was directed by Peter Markle and written by Matthew Carlson and Jerry Abrahamson. And it was released by Lionsgate Films as well as Harlow Films. This movie opens with an Old West-style bank robbery.
This is the third time this month.
Apparently there were a few bank robberies before the movie even opened.
You know, you really should give the depositors a chance to build up their accounts.
Apparently there's no money in the bank, so the banker quits.
Good luck.
Bet you didn't see that coming. Then we meet Belle, the prostitute.
Here's a refund!
Played by Ellen Greene, most famously known from Little Shop of Horrors. Then after this, we meet the best character in the entire movie, Julian, played by John C. McGinley, Dr. Cox.
What a terrific surprise!
Julian is a bookstore owner, and when one of the Ferguson brothers, Harry Bob, comes in saying he needs
I need a big damn book.
Julian recommends the classic Pride and Prejudice.
I've got to test it first.
I beg your pardon?
Harry Bob only wanted the book for toilet paper. Then another character, keep up because there are a lot of characters in this movie. Lindsay, a mail-order bride who arrives at the Fergusons. She asks which one of them paid for her, therefore being the lucky groom.
None of us could afford a bride on his own, so we all just sort of pitched in.
Hillbillies. Then one of the lead characters, Phil, finds his stolen cows.
You see, they say Phil's cow.
The cattle rustler is insulted by Phil, pointing out that he stole his cows, so he hands him a pistol and tells him to walk 10 paces.
4 5.
Phil's not very brave. At the bar, they all decide that them come out west is just really not working out for them. They should go back east. But first,
We need a sign.
that's Zeke. Right after he says we need a sign, a storm starts brewing. But he says that's not a sign, that's just weather. Then this happens.
Oh dear.
That'll do. And then we meet John Harlow. Played by the late, ever so great John Candy. John Harlow happens to be a wagon master, and he convinces them all to hire him.
Wagons!
Problem is, he's going the wrong way. Ben and Phil explain to him that they're not going west, they're going east.
Don't hardly seem right.
But they tell him if he wants a job, they're going east.
Wagons! East!
So they head east. Then we see a group of businessmen sitting around a table talking about how to build their railroads, they have to keep the people coming west. They have to get the west nice and populated. As somebody who's lived his whole life in the West Coast, trust me, you succeeded. They need to keep these people coming west in order to continue getting government funding for their railroads. When they find out about people heading back east, most of the businessmen just kind of laugh it off and don't take it as anything serious.
Let me see that.
Except the big boss. Then back in the wagon train, Phil's son is disappointed in him and ashamed of him for being a quitter.
For your information, if it were not for quitters, no one would start anything.
Phil, do these mental gymnastics really help you sleep at night? Zeke says, though, he remembers the name John Harlow.
You don't forget somebody like that.
But when asked what did he do,
That's the only part I can't remember.
hillbillies. A couple of wagons start joining this wagon train, making a small trend of people going, let's go back east. So now the businessmen hire John Slade. Slade. He's a bad man, and you know he's a bad man because he was able to light a match off the side of his face. They come to a fork in the road.
Yeah!
Their confidence in him is starting to wane a little bit, especially when he picks the wrong way.
That's the last time I listened to you. I told you to wake me up.
Lindsay is getting more and more frustrated with all the Fergusons.
Well, They're lighting their farts afire.
Now, I know people are like, oh, that's just what guys do. Well, I've never lit my farts on fire, okay? When I want fiery farts, I just go to Popeyes. That night, while everybody is sleeping...
Halt! Who goes there?
Slade is just as confused as we all are. But then, 30 seconds later... Thus, one of the Ferguson brothers is dead. Slade also dumps out all of their water. And the next day is especially warm. Harlow is trying to take them to some water, but... Now everybody is angry at Harlow and ready to kill him. Turns out the water was just farther down. Junior Ferguson is the first to dive in. Even more progress.
Honey, please keep 2 hands on the reins, huh?
Everyone gets down there and crosses the rough river.
Man, you people are crazy.
Belle asks, why are we crazy? Because we crossed the river risking our lives? Because we believed in our wagon master?
Because most people use the bridge.
Later, Zeke remembers something.
But he did something really, really bad.
But what did he do?
Damn. I wish I could remember.
Well, I mean, I guess he's making a little bit of progress. So that night, in an effort to try to figure out what Harlow did, Phil gathers the men together to have a men's meeting and share feelings, which they were all about doing back in the Western days. He even starts by talking about how he used to be a surgeon, but can't operate anymore. He has the shakes ever since he made a mistake that cost a young soldier his life. Then Harry Bob Ferguson gets up.
When I was 10 years old, I killed my best friend, Tommy Hanley. I have no idea why I done it.
Well, this certainly got dark. As they're traveling, they end up in what they call Indian territory. Don't get mad at me, that's what they called it in the Old West. Harlow says for them to survive, they need to think and act like the natives. The first thing they need to do is go barefoot. Ben points out, though, that natives don't go barefoot, they wear moccasins. But Harlow has to point out, none of them have any moccasins.
I actually brought a pair for summer wear. I really think they'd just be perfect.
Julian
will wear moccasins and the rest of us will go barefoot.
Harlow says they need to be as quiet as possible, muffle any sounds that they can, travel at night, hide during the day, no campfires, and hopefully they can get through the territory unnoticed.
Uh-oh.
It didn't work.
Excuse me?
We gonna lose another Ferguson? There's hoping. The chief, though, is upset. He asks his son, how could you let them get so far into our land? I guess they were perfect. They tell the natives, though, they're trying to head east. Because of this, the chief tells his son, escort them to the borders of their land safely and get them to their destination. His son's not happy about it. But the chief tells his son, Little Feather, if we help them get east, maybe this will start a trend, others will go back east, and we can have our land back. It didn't work. So the chief tries this. Happy now? As a gesture of goodwill, Harlow tells Big Snake that makes women faint he can keep his pistol. And another Ferguson gone. Slade tries another plan. He loads big rocks on a cliff to come down, triggered by a rope. It doesn't work. At least not until everyone's all clear of the rocks. And suddenly Slade is Wile E. Coyote. Later they're all at a river and decide to use that to bathe and whatnot. And Billy asks Julian why he went out west in the first place. Julian says it was the men.
I guess because men read more books than women, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's why. Then Billy notices something.
What'd you see, a mermaid? Cold water usually does the opposite to me.
It was the Old West. They didn't pick up as much on the, subtle signs. Belle goes over to Harlow to talk to him about coming over to her wagon that night.
We can talk.
But Harlow says he can't right now. He doesn't have any money. She takes offense to this. Oh, his
Captain Winky!
Later, Harlow goes to Belle to apologize.
I don't think of you as just a whore.
Really?
Oh, Harlow, that's so sweet.
Really? That night, Zeke finally has some memory of where he knows Harlow from. Sort of. He says he remembers he was a wagon master for a party that went very bad, but he can't remember which one.
I keep thinking of reindeer.
So they start naming reindeer, like Dancer and Prancer, and Donner and Blitzen.
That's it. The Blitzen party.
Donner Party?
The Donner Party. The worst wagon train disaster in the history of our country. If you don't actually know what the Donner Party is, I'm not going to give you a history lesson here, but I definitely think you should Google it. Really. It's something to chew on.
I hired the wagon master from the Donner Party.
They agree, though, that the Donner Party was an extreme situation. So as long as they don't encounter any snow, they should be fine. And they shouldn't encounter any snow. I mean, it's June.
It's snowing! We're marooned!
Are you guys still in Nevada? Slade is at it again. He sets a bridge to explode.
What?
Of all the darn luck, he goes to relight it, gets his hand stuck in the bridge, and again, they all get away right as this happens. Yeah! Oh, now his Winky. Slade decides that he's had enough of the antics. He just goes down, starts tying everybody up, but he missed one person.
Okay, stud, give me the weapon.
He tells Julian his name is Slade.
Why don't you spell it out for me so I can get it right on your tombstone?
After this, Julian fires a warning shot. Slade says, is a warning shot supposed to scare me?
It should. It's actually lodged about 6 inches in your tummy.
That's pretty scary. Yeah! Well, looks like Julian has saved the day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
The company men are discussing Slade's failure. So the big boss says he's sending in the cavalry. When asked exactly what cavalry is he sending...
Don't you know who the United States Cavalry is?
Yes, the cavalry. When they all hear that the cavalry is coming after them, Harlow says that they should stop now, because now he's got a bad feeling.
The same bad feeling you had when you led the Donner Party?
Oh, Ben, no. Ben tells everybody that Harlow was, in fact, the wagon master for the Donner Party.
Before he became a vegetarian.
That wouldn't turn me into a vegetarian. Heck, just in the off chance that something like the movie Alive happens, whenever I go flying, I carry some A1 sauce in my carry-on luggage. But Phil asks everyone, should you really condemn a man based on Zeke's memory?
What memory?
Exactly! But Harlow sadly cannot deny that this is the truth. So he gets on his horse, and he leaves. Then some U.S. cavalry soldiers show up, and they tell everybody to turn around or face the consequences. Phil asks exactly what are the consequences.
Well, you know, your standard U.S. cavalry massacre. He can explain.
Not cool, dude. Not cool. In the midst of all this, Harry Bob Ferguson gets shot while taking a bite off of some tobacco. Who shot him? His brother.
Hey, it was my tobacco.
Oh, thank God my brother just smokes. And I don't. They ask Phil to operate on him to get the bullet out of the flesh wound. Phil doesn't want to at first because he's so nervous, but once he gets started in operating, he gets excited because his hand doesn't shake. He can be a surgeon again. But then he has to have a talk with Clayton Ferguson.
He's dead.
Yeah, this great surgeon killed a man getting the bullet out of a flesh wound. But on the plus side, he gives Clayton back his tobacco.
My tobacco. Thanks, Doc.
And now, thankfully, there is only one Ferguson left. Then we see General Larchmont. He is concerned about this wagon train because Harlow is there, and Harlow could ruin his chance of becoming president if he lets it out that this general took provisions from the Donner Party during the Mexican-American War, which ultimately led to their tragedy.
Gee, luck of the draw, Lieutenant. Just the luck of the draw.
Well, he's definitely a politician. The next day as the cavalry comes, everybody starts to circle the wagons. But Big Snake has an idea to square the wagons.
Then the cavalry would have to go in wide circles.
And it's a little sad that in real life no one ever thought to try this. As they're all getting ready to fight, everyone starts thinking about what this trip has really meant to them. Phil thinks of how he was able to perform surgery again. Belle thinks of Harlow. And Zeke thinks of...
I got nothing.
Just as the cavalry is about to strike, Harlow comes back to save the day. He challenges the general to a fight, mano-y-mano. The general tells the lieutenant to shoot Harlow.
Called you out in front of the men. It's a, Western thing.
And they fight!
Pretty fair punch there, Harlow.
For a very long time. Very long.
How long do these things usually last?
So long that everybody watching ends up getting bored and just goes off to start doing their own thing.
It's like a vanilla wafer?
But then finally... and just in time for dinner.
You won!
Oh, yeah! They finally arrive east just as a bunch of people are heading west.
Maybe it'll work out for them.
Harlow and Belle decide that together they should go up north to Canada.
I hear it's warm there all year round.
No, but they got poutine. They see a shooting star, and Lindsay makes a wish.
It's Clayton Ferguson.
Now she's free. Julian decides he gave up on the West a little too early, so he's gonna head back. They ask, what could possibly be back west for you?
San Francisco.
Well, there's that. Big Snake says goodbye, but warns that if he ever sees any of them in his country again...
I have to kill you.
Oh, Big Snake.
Serious?
Oh. Okay. The end. So there you have it. That's Wagons East. This movie, again, was not well received at all. Has not gotten well reception. In fact, if you find a review of it, it's probably going to be negative. And I tend to go a different route. I am giving you a positive review. I thought this movie was very funny from the very first time I saw it. I'm honestly surprised it didn't do better. I thought the characters were really well done. I thought it was very well casted. John C. McGinley was great in this movie, as he is in most everything he does. John Candy was great in this movie. Again, just overall, it is one of my favorite comedies. I love all the satire on what we know of the Old West and what we portray of the Old West. It makes me laugh. And hopefully, if you have not seen Wagons East, you will go out and check it out and make your own decision on whether or not you think it's a good movie. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you'll get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think of Wagons East. Tell me if you're going to go see Wagons East. Love you guys.